nice sip of English Earl Grey tea. Is Earl Grey tea actually from England, do we know? You won't know, will you?
Why would I know?
Well, I was just asking. You might do. Some people sometimes have information that they're not supposed to have. But anyway.
I got lots of that. Yeah.
Yeah, who doesn't? Anyway, this is a bit of as you could probably guess, guys, a bit of an impromptu stream. Very strange times at the minute. A friend of mine, Dan, who is also known as Heisenberg White,
Heyo.
CT's in the house, and the last tanker. Everybody's turning up. What's that say? M1A2A. Hello, guys. Thanks for joining us. Just a random stream. Like I said, Dan contacted me and said, what you up to? And I thought, you know what? Let's have a bit of a catch up on. And one of Lorne's escapees is here as well. Kimmy Coco Bop. Is it Coco Pop or Coco Bop?
I think the song is Bop, and I think that name is Pop.
Right, just to confuse matters.
Right. Well,
Basically.
I'm very excited. I'm happy. It's been a while since me and Andrew got to do something together on YouTube. And now that we have a lot of time, free time with everybody being quarantined, we might get another Dustin video out sometime in the next couple of days, or we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm really excited today. I know it's not like Andy to do a live stream with no plan where he just rambles. That's so unlike him. So we're going to get to see that rare side of him today, I guess.
I'm pretty sure it's the same as the other side, but yeah, usually we have a specific topic to talk about. Every so often these come up, especially like I'm a little fucking bored, as probably a lot of people I know.
But what's weird is there's so much going on.
Yeah, well, generally the things that I would do now are not happening. So like usually my sort of evenings would be gym, yoga, going to maybe a coffee shop and reading, going to a concert, which I was supposed to be going to. I was supposed to be going away tomorrow for the weekend on a meditation retreat. That's been cancelled. No Gallagher concert next week has been cancelled. Everything, things at work. Teacup Recipes is here. If you've got some toilet roll, dude, could you please send me some? Because they fucking ran out in all the stores over here. Do you know what? I thought that it was a myth, right? Until I'm a very routine kind of person, me. So when I'm off at the weekend, I get up really stupid early, go for a run where there's not a soul around, to the point of exhaustion. I'll get home, and then I'll go for a coffee and read the paper in like a Starbucks. I love that. And as I left Starbucks on Saturday, I saw all these peoples on the retail car park carrying shitloads of toilet roll. I was like, fucking hell, it's true. I didn't think people did that.
I heard about it, and on a Tuesday I went to the grocery store and there was plenty on the shelves, and I'm like, see, these people are nuts. So I bought like a 6-pack, and then the following 2 days later, shelves were empty. So I got it just in time. Now I counted today just to make sure 9.5 rolls of toilet paper, which as a single man should last me until December. So yeah.
Yeah,
well, I'm actually single anymore.
That should be good. And it's like I bought one packet the other day and felt guilty.
What's wrong with do you guys not reuse your toilet paper? Come on. Save the earth.
Within the same sitting I do, but not during multiple sittings, if you get what I'm saying.
No, that's crazy. You gotta. Well, you should make one square of toilet paper last a year.
Listen, dude. Maybe that's how all this started.
Yeah. And I definitely don't wash my hands.
Don't be endorsing that kind of behavior.
I think most people know not to poop on their hands, but I don't know. Maybe that's the cure to all of this. We can build our immune system.
Can you imagine being that guy that fucking ate that rat in China or wherever the fuck started this? Can you imagine being that person just sat there thinking, oh,
It was probably a dare, like, hey, I dare you to eat this bat soup. And he's like, I'll do it, I swear to God. I don't think that's actually what happened.
You.
Yeah. This soup is batshit crazy.
Can you imagine? Right, let's just say that you're some guy who, acted stupidly, and it was you that caused it all. What kind of charges they could bring against you?
I don't think that can ever be determined or proven.
No.
I think there's been variations of this virus for a long time, actually. It's just this particular strain now is difficult to contain. But as somebody who's as well traveled as you are, I want to know, what's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Crickets, and there was a cricket, and what the fuck, grasshopper.
Huh. That's interesting. How was it?
That was it.
Was it good?
No, it tasted of nothing. It was crap. Can't think of anything weird. I have some weird shit, but yeah, I think that was it. Some grasshoppers and some crickets. Little beetle things. They weren't very good either. I ate dirt, but that was when I was like Ralph Wiggum's age. You know what I mean?
Yep. That is Patty brings up a good point too. That this was never an issue until Lorne got out of prison.
That's a fucking good point. That's a good point, Patty. You know what? That man has got some strange tendencies. He could be responsible. You know, can you imagine if can you imagine if it came to light and it
the ultimate chest cold.
Guys, oh, that's genius. Guys, let's just imagine. Let our brains take us there. Hi, Celine. Let's just let our brains take us there, right, for a minute. Let's escape reality and pretend that Lorne is responsible for this whole fiasco. It was him that found a dead rat in the cafeteria of the prison when he was escaping his masters. Should I say, he was someone's bitch and he was escaping them and he ate this rat and that started it. If it was Lorne Armstrong, can you imagine if you woke up in the morning and his name was all over the fucking news? Oh my god. Can you imagine?
Patient Zero, Lorne
That'd make
Lynn
us
Armstrong.
lot famous, wouldn't it?
I guess, yeah. How much deflection can he handle it? That would be like Max bullshitting Lorne. Like, it's not my fault. It's the fucking Michelle Simpson, the fucking Bunky. That's why I ate the thing. And it's like, Lorne, if you just washed your hands, whoa, nobody else does.
It was messed up at the time. Oh my god.
At the time.
That would be hilarious. But yeah, wouldn't it be great if we could like just randomly
the Ramona virus.
What?
Johnny Utah says the Ramona virus.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
How did it end? Andrew, is this coronavirus happening on The Simpsons? I don't think it did. I think
no, it didn't. And people are stupid for believing that. Every time something significant in the news happens and they see some bullshit like The Simpsons predicted this and it's like clearly a photoshopped picture, it gets me so angry because you and me both know what actually happens on The Simpsons and we know what is and isn't true.
Yes, but don't forget, there's like, we watch The Simpsons quite excessive, at least I do, so we know when something's been bullshitted and when it hasn't.
Yeah, that's right.
But Lorne has the pedo 30. I tell you what, Patty's coming out with some crackers today. This is brilliant. Yeah, so it's been a while since me and you have spoken, and obviously this is a strange time to be speaking again, but a lot has happened in the Predator world since we last spoke properly.
It certainly has. Isn't it funny how it just keeps on going? There's just every couple of weeks when you think you haven't heard anything in a while, something else pops up.
It's weird, isn't it? So the most significant thing to happen, I would say, without a doubt, is obviously Lorne going back to jail.
And now getting out of jail.
Yeah, and being the same person. That's not a surprise. But it's something that isn't like surprising, obviously, because he's criminally insane, and Shin said that. He sort of summed it, and I was like, you know what, you're right there.
I think delusional is more, not insane. He's very conscious.
No, it's criminally insane. There's a difference. Criminally insane is someone who cannot... They're basically someone who cannot operate within the confines of the law. They can only function through breaking it. And he is one of those people.
Yeah.
Because
how much more help can he get at this point, though?
Well, he can't get any more help, can he? Because we've spoke about this for a long time, and that kind of help, the kind of help that he needs, can only be successful with his cooperation. You cannot help someone who won't help themselves. Now, there are a lot of people in his position that will never get better. The main reason I believe is because of the alcohol. Well, it's not the main reason, but being alcohol dependent or even alcoholic, as some people have suggested, is massively prohibiting from his point of view. No,
Do you know, if you've never grappled with that, you don't really understand how addicting some of these vices can be. And even in your head, 100% of the time, you're going, I shouldn't be doing this. This is bad, but I can't stop. It's real. That drinking is a real addiction. Gambling, smoking, these are drugs. Those are addictions. Shitty decisions and having no, integrity, that is a choice. He pays for what he thinks are things that are out of his control. He thinks is what's ultimately kicking him in the ass, but it's really all just him and the choices he makes and the things he does and refuses to do.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, he always has a choice to do better, but when alcohol grabs hold of you, it makes it even harder. Like if he was someone who, for whatever reason, we've done quite a lot. I've done a lot of videos about alcohol abuse related to Lorne. We did a live stream about it, and Kat G, who's in the chat, she came on and she was brilliant. She talked about her problems with alcohol. It's something that affects so many people, but it makes it impossible for somebody like Lorne. And Lorne's in the chat. Hello, Lorne. What you up to, dude?
There he is. Yeah. Well, I was listening to the Pope call, actually, the therapist call earlier today, and listen to the way he talks about the people in his life that are there to help him. He doesn't say, I've been talking with my therapist. He says, I have to put up with my therapist and my counselor, my probation officer, as if they're not there just to help him. That's like, oh, you don't understand. I have to put up with my mom who unconditionally loves me and always wants to see me succeed. I have to deal with her all the time. What kind of person just refuses help like that? I think the strongest people are the ones that know how to accept help and give it when somebody else needs it.
Of course, that's a great way of putting it. But as we know, he doesn't think that there's anything really wrong with him. I think he does deep down, but he can't face up to it. That's the problem. And so, of course, all those people are going to be a distraction. It's like when I talked about him not having gratitude. And it's something that we all overlook. We live in a society... It's changed a little bit now, where people like him get help. He got let off very easy by that judge when I went there. He only got 6 months, some of which he'd already served.
Right.
And the judge wanted him to reform, and he's tried to fuck a child. Now, ordinarily, let's just go back 200 years or whatever, he'd have been stoned to death for what he tried to do. Can you imagine if, like, a prominent family were there and, like, he got caught trying to sleep with their kid? He'd have been like stoned to death in public square. But now,
as a young child like that, for sure. And you know what? In a little bit of defense, 100, 200 years ago, people were marrying a lot younger because the life expectancy was so low. But now, in the 21st century, there's no excuse. There's no reason to even flirt with that idea outside of perversion.
Yeah, well, I mean, for Lorne, it's a combination of factors. I don't think he's someone who's as predominantly paedophilistic, I've just made that word up, as Dustin. He obviously is attracted to that age group, but not as obsessively as some of the others are. I don't think it's as genetically there as it is with some of the others.
Right, like Lorne is selfish and delusional, but Dustin is perverted and like borderline evil, I think.
Borderline sadistic, if not fully. I don't know, the last chat that we did, in fact, when we do another Dustin video, we'll mention, there's a bit in the chat where he talks about fucking her when she's paralytic drunk and then her waking up sore. That was probably the most disturbing part of...
If both men were given their fantasies at that time, Lorne would just be having sex with this girl. He would do it a lot. But Dustin would be having like this weird, painful shit where he shaves her too and just completely has his way with it.
Let our minds go down there. It's just too much. But you're right. It's a terrifying
and here's another example, by the way, of somebody who didn't learn their lesson and is gone almost quite literally the same way that Lorne has back to jail and just had his hearing, Dustin, who can barely walk now and has taken absolutely nothing from his time in jail.
Yeah, did you see the photographs of him?
I did. Made me giggle.
Yeah,
It's sad, but
it was a strange seeing somebody like that and just totally like unable to function. You know, needs all them people around him wheeling him in and out and team of specialists. It's like, what a world we live in where somebody like that.
All right. But Harvey Weinstein showed up to his trial in a walker too, so some of this could just be to solicit sympathy, you know.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? I would say Lorne and Dustin are the most talked about predators in this community. I would say, and both of them ended up back in prison within the same, within a 12-month period. It's quite telling, really, isn't it? I think some people just never have a chance, and you know what I'm like with my deep thinking and spirituality, and we always try and take a meta approach is probably just to everything, and it makes me wonder, like, people like Dustin and Lorne, do they ever have a chance in life? And I don't mean that to mean that they shouldn't be held responsible, because they do have a choice, but it just makes me wonder about the bigger picture and people's role in the universe and the journey and stuff. And it's like, man, it kind of makes me so glad that I didn't end up like that, even for my things that I've got in life that I should be grateful for.
Lorne is the best type of idiot in that he did something stupid that other people can take a lesson from, but he also didn't actually physically harm anybody in the process.
Yeah, it's a very unique situation. It's very surreal. I use that word a lot, but my wordplay isn't good enough to come up with different variations of that. And it is a good word, but you're right. There's no victim there. His chat log variates between pure hilarity, bemusement, and kind of sickness. And I love it, and it's called.
It is addiction. It is. I mean, every day, every hour of every day, he has to be talking to somebody when he's apparently romantically involved. On one day, he will say, "Everybody, leave me alone. Don't talk to me." But he also always wants the spotlight on him and wants everybody's undivided attention. What the fuck?
Yeah. It's fascinating. It really is. I love that chat log, and I know I keep harping on about it and I repeat myself, but I fucking love that chat log so much. It should be studied for hundreds of years as put it in a time capsule, because it encapsulates so much about living in America at that time and how you can fall from grace. And with it contained within it, you've got part of it where you're thinking, you know what, he had a pretty rough start in life. He's had a little bit of bad luck. Relatively, yes, but he's also made some terrible decisions and he's been a coward. And he's
every
bit lazy.
Good decision he's made has been he's fucked up on his own.
Yeah, the Betty situation, which
his involvement in the military too, his septic business, trying to pursue a music career. He's fucked up everything because he's fucked it up.
Yeah, because he's never done what it takes. He's never put the work in. There's so many factors in it, and it's kind of arrogance is part of it, because he thinks he shouldn't have to work that hard to achieve something. It's like the Betty situation sums him up perfectly, right? I don't think he went in there with the sole intention to scam her, but when things got difficult, rather than sorting it out and doing the right thing, he just ran away. He did the easiest thing, which was to just run off to another state. Just the easiest thing he could have done.
Louis C.K., ironically enough, has a good bit that makes me think of, something that we can all relate to, but something that pretty much goes on in Lorne's head 24/7, where he says because he travels so much to do stand-up, anytime he's on a plane flying first class and a service member of the Army gets on in uniform, he says in his head, he goes, I should really give him my seat. I think that'd be a cool thing to do. I'm not going to do it though, but I feel good about myself that I at least thought to do that.
That's
That's
really
like
good.
Lorne all the time. Like he knows what could be good, but he'll never do it. But he believes he's a good person for just thinking it.
Yeah, you're probably
Giving
right
up
as well, but
drinking, exercising, cooking, going to therapy, trying to take sex offender class seriously. Not really going to do that, but I probably should. So
yeah, it's like when Tiffany says, "Oh, you've done this and you've done that," and he's like, "I know, I'm so stupid to do that. I'm so mad with myself for doing that." It's like it's so frustrating to hear him say it because he's just
don't be
not
mad.
willing.
Just he treats it like it can't be helped.
Yeah, like it's out of his control.
Just accept it. That's the literally the first step.
Yeah,
And
of
is admitting
course.
you have a problem, not you had one in the past and you were messed up at the time.
It's like his YouTube channel alone should be studied in years to come. The fact that he made that video, and well, I remember when I first watched his video complaining about not getting meatballs off his siblings for the reason that he committed attempted rape. And think about that for a minute. I don't think I'll ever be able to fully grasp the gravity of what he said there. He did actually blame the fact for his siblings not giving him some food.
And I mean, there was never going to be a good enough answer for him to explain away what he did,
No,
but
but there could have been some that actually
something
people.
better. Yeah,
There could have been something like, I've been struggling with these impulses for a long time. I know that
I've
I
been a
was in a
victim
bad place and I
myself.
let
Yeah.
these get the better of me. I know it's wrong. I'm currently undergoing treatment. I wouldn't expect anybody to forgive me, but please believe me, I'm doing everything I can. That's the only thing that could have given him any bit of credibility, but that none of that existed within that. It was somebody else's fault. It was his siblings' fault for him trying to rape a kid.
In the last several years, if you said there was somebody up there who was dumber and a worse person than Lorne at this point, I would have said you're fucking crazy. But I gotta tell you, man, this Vincent guy with Chris and that whole situation, I don't know if you've checked in on that recently. This this dude is just as delusional and is like straight up evil. Like the shit that he does and lies about. He's taken advantage of so many people and has been so misleading about anything that he's capable of doing for good is just a lie. And he seriously does. He's legitimately mentally unwell. He's very confrontational over absolutely nothing. He just harbors a lot of anger all the time and doesn't know how to strategically treat it or even do something smart to get back at somebody. He just does whatever the first shitty stupid idea is that comes to his head.
That's interesting. I must admit, I know very little. Well, I don't know anything about that situation.
Yeah, it started with the taking the videos down.
Oh, I know
And
about all
docs,
that. I just didn't know. I just
but
saw
it's
it.
just snowballed. And Chris, thankfully, the least he could do, and he did. He made a video saying like, "Look, I was told one thing, Vince was doing another. I was lied to. I'm sorry, and I want to personally apologize to the people that he, took their channel down or fucked with them." And he gave all the right shout outs to all the right people. He couldn't get everybody, but and he says like, look, like if I had known any of this was happening in the way that it was happening, I would have stepped in. And you could even tell that he knew then that he could have told him to stop doing things, and he just would continue to do it anyway. He was just a loose cannon, and had to be let go. And it was a shame he wasn't fired sooner.
Wow, that's very interesting. That's really, really interesting. Who would have thought? I mean, is it? I mean, we talked about like the Lorne and the Dustin situation within the last 12 months, but you've also got the like you said, the Chris Hansen situation, someone that we viewed as a god in the community. Really, no one ever had a bad word to say about him because he was perfect for the role, and then all this shit happened. It was very, very strange.
The only takeaway from this that's I think a good thing is people now are realizing that Chris is nothing more than just a guy. He has experience that's helpful, but You're right. We looked at him as like the be all end all symbol of justice against predators, and people were ready to just throw all their money and support at him to get him to follow up with this Onision thing and all these other predator investigations. But we, who've been around for a while, know that you can't give money to Chris Hansen because he won't give you what he says he's going to give you, and you have to. You should never just wholeheartedly 100% trust somebody on the internet with something that's serious without doing a little bit of research or having some reservations. And I think a lot of people have second guessed their trust in him, which is good, and they should be doing. I think he is still trying to do the right thing and doing what he says he's doing, but don't just buy and believe every single thing that he says, because he's just going to promise you the world and he'll never be able to deliver it.
Yeah, it's a shame as well, really, because like if you think about it, we have this show that we've all obsessed over for various reasons, and it's understandable because I think it's fucking highly entertaining. It really, really is, and there's so many factors which make it entertaining. And you have this guy at the forefront of it who is the symbolism of reason and morals, and he even gave, what I liked about the way he conducted himself is he gave them the opportunity to speak, and it was like the Lorne interview sums it up perfectly when he's talking about Amanda James, and at one point Chris's head turns really quickly like something amazing's happened in front of him, because Lorne starts talking about the Amanda James thing, and Chris is eager. I'm not saying he genuinely fucking wants to help him, but there's a part of him that wants, he's giving people the opportunity. He's not immediately judging them as monsters. He's saying, right, okay, this is the situation you're in. What led you down this path? And he called Lorne out on his bullshit because he fucking knew it was bullshit. So you've got this guy who symbolises morals and ethics, and then is shown to be as corrupt as any of them. And it's like, it's very disappointing.
Yeah, he's human. He makes mistakes. He has owned up to some of them.
We've all got that ability within us, I think. We've all got that mixture of light and dark, and it's deciding. We have a choice on determining.
But to talk about what you brought up, where he interviews these guys and gives them the opportunity to speak, I think in some cases, some of the guys were very honest and straight up. Not Dustin, despite using the word that many times, but 90% of them lied in some way or another. I think outside of just didn't want to get in trouble because they were lying to themselves, and they didn't think that they were actually capable of doing what they were going to do until it became very real. But they would have, and they don't want to believe that, so they say, oh, you know what, I was messed up at the time. I've got so much going on, my wife, this or that, my marriage, and it's hard to meet people, and that's really why I'm here. It's like, no, I'm pretty sure it's just because you wanted to fuck a child, man. I'm pretty sure that's it.
It's strange, isn't it?
A little reductionist, but yeah.
Yeah, you try and put yourself in their position, and I don't mean by trying to fuck a kid, but you're trying to think, the sort of the wars that must have been fought in your head to get to that position where you're putting yourself. And the Rolando Resticruz is a good example of that. Mm-hmm. That's someone who knew his life was over. He took the full brunt of that and didn't really have the courage to sort of say, well, okay, I've made my bed, I've got to lie in it. It destroyed him, didn't it? At that moment, it's like that's a guy who broke, like Lorne did, really. But Lorne's wasn't as genuine. Lorne's was a front of pity. I'm going to throw pity out, and I'm going to see if it makes me
get sympathy,
puts me in a better position. It's like the baby crying. There's so much aspects of Lorne that are childlike. That's why I think he's an interesting character. I think that when I don't know whether you probably didn't see it, but I did a video about what Lorne's relationship with his father when he was younger and how that shaped what he became. Now, I wasn't trying to make excuses for him, and some people did react a little bit angrily and say that it doesn't excuse what he did, and I never said for a second it did. What I was trying to do was say that most people that are extremely bad have some kind of dark past. They have either of an abusive family, not always, but usually. There's always a traumatic incident from the past. Some people have them and they turn good because they make the right decisions, and some don't. I find it very interesting that Lorne's a sensitive character, and his relationship with his dad, he was abandoned by his dad on a few occasions, and the story about Bunky's toy, which we all laugh about, I thought it held some significance to his development as a child. And I love reading books about, like, how malleable the mind is when you're younger. So Lorne's relationship with his father definitely molded him into what he's become, but that doesn't mean that he didn't have a choice to do better.
Yeah, I think our free will is influenced by our past, but every decision and action comes from, there's a slight, very tiny, unless it's a very major decision, there's a tiny moment in your head where you pause and consider things, and you go, should I do that? Should I do that? Maybe I'm going to go ahead and do that. No, I shouldn't do that, and this and that. Your free will has unlimited potential, but you're right, it can be influenced by other things. Your decision-making skills and your tastes and your preferences can be made that way by things in your past. But still, in my past, I've learned that I really like money and I want to make money, but I know not to just walk into a 7-Eleven with a gun and start stealing money because that's what I want.
Let me just respond to S. Hull. Shaw.
Yeah, I see that.
Are you seriously stating that a piece of shit family made him what he is? It possibly helped to mold him, but he's done that. Isn't that what I said?
That's exactly what we're saying. Yeah, maybe Lorne would have been a better person if he had a better family, but there is no alternative timeline. There is no time travel. We just have what we just have. There's only going to be one Lorne, and in the circumstances that he was born in is what he had to deal with. And there were people with one parent their whole lives who lost parents and siblings who had it much worse too, that turned out to be just fine or even incredibly successful members of society.
Yeah, Trey, I'm willing to admit that that's potentially doesn't hold as much weight as what I'm saying, but it's kind of fun to theorize. The title of the video that I did was Lorne's, I can't remember exactly how it was worded, but it's something along the lines of, was Lorne's absent father the catalyst for his situation? So the title, the whole point I was trying to make was in the title of the fucking video. It was a catalyst. It's not their fault. It's not it's a catalyst. So what starts you on that path? Sometimes there's something that starts people on a path of good. Sometimes it's on a bad, and you meet some people who you believe are really bad. I have certain beliefs, and I'm going to do an interesting video with Trey, who's in the chat soon, hopefully, about that, because I find it interesting. I don't see evil as being a tangible thing. Like, I see it as being close. The best analogy I can come up with is someone who's ill. And I don't mean that someone shouldn't have to be responsible for their actions, because they certainly should be. Because otherwise, how could you not? You've got to face the consequences of your poor decisions. And it's like, I find it very interesting that, because I don't want to harp on about the kind of stuff I believe, because it's not for everybody. But, what you was talking about, free will, that interests me. I've read some books that believe there's no such thing as free will.
Yeah, because there is no
exist.
Splitting off. You can't do multiple things at once. Yeah, in multiple realities, I mean.
Yeah, so, some people, or some really intelligent people, believe that free will is a complete illusion, and that everything that we do is all determined by our past behaviours and our growing up and our genetics. So everything that we've ever done and ever will do is all predetermined and has a destiny to it, an inevitability to it. I've had some
we're going to judge. Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say, if we were going to, if this hypothetical judgment day comes and somebody is judging Lorne's soul as it stands, in my opinion, this is an opinion or a belief, I don't know. I think we have a soul, but I don't think it's what most people think. I think our soul is just everything in our lives between us and nature and everybody we've ever known. It is the good, if your friend has a good memory of you guys hanging out when you were kids, that's a part of your soul. Your coffee mug or your tea mug sitting on the computer desk in front of you, that's part of your soul too. Every positive thing you've ever done and left an impact on somebody to do something, that's part of your soul. So if we take all that into consideration, Lorne's soul is mostly going to be comprised of bad choices and bad impacts and bad decisions and people he's hurt, and the good is going to be shoot. What's something good Lorne's done? That's just it. The fact that I even have to think and ask that question kind of says a lot
There
about
was one
how.
part in the chat log which made me think, was there a good part in him coming to the surface? And he asks Kayla, is this what you want? Now, I'm not saying that was good, because that could have been...
She could have said no, and he could have just kept going.
Well, it's not that. It might have been because he was thinking he was going to get in trouble. It might have been for a purely selfish reason.
Sure.
Good, I believe, is basically considering someone else rather than yourself. It's being selfless. I know you don't like Star Wars like I do, but that's what the difference between the Jedi. The Jedi supposed to represent good because they are selfless. They act and care about others, only others, and the Sith are the enemy, and they only care about themselves. They feed off the dark side, which is the easiest path. That's the path that Lorne has gone down. Every decision that he makes is the easiest for him. Fuck everybody else. The better situation is perfect, because I didn't mean that in a way to say perfect for her. You know what I mean? It's a perfect example of all he had to do, and what is even crazy about it is he didn't realise that the decision that he's made has been bad for him. If he had just stood up and knocked on Betty's door and said, listen, I fucked up. I've got him way over my head. A couple of people have let me down. I haven't got the skills to finish this. I've spent the money. We need to figure something out. Is there anything I can do? And even if he wouldn't have been able to do anything, pay her back, they would have been able to work together, and that would have set Lorne on a lighter path, and he might never have got caught in that sting. He might have sorted himself out. He might have developed a friendship with Betty, met other people, and that might have made him feel better about himself. But he decided to fucking run off, and that was the catalyst for the teacup thing, because, who's to say... Put it this way, right? If he hadn't have been in that chat room at that time, in that place, he might never have been caught on TCAP.
Mm-hmm. But like I said, there is no alternative timeline in his head. I never wanted to go to the house. You did go to the house, Lorne. You just did. And you had that conversation, and you said the things you said, and you called her and typed to her every single day for a month. These are things that you've done. In your head, you can say, like, oh, if the circumstances were different, or, oh, if only I gotten my mac and cheese and meatballs. So the reality is you didn't get it. And this is the path you've chosen, and you cannot change the past. I'm sorry. You can only change your future, or at least guide it into a different direction. But in his head, he has all of these caveats and conditions that keep him from really admitting he has a problem, because it's everybody else's fault. He has to deal with so much. He's under a lot of stress. It's not his fault that he's addicted to everything that all the bad habits he has. But like I said, the reality is that reality trumps all. In another life, sure, yeah, maybe you could have been nice, but here we are in this one.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. It's I find it interesting because Lorne's a microcosm for we're all more similar than we'd like to admit, really. That's one thing that I know is going to be a positive from this terrible situation that's going on in the world, and I can already feel it. Is like a unity, even worldwide, is that we're all part of the same organism. Our species needs to work together to grow. And it works on a smaller scale and it works on a large one. Look, your body is full of cells that sacrifice themselves for the good of the organism. And that's when an organism functions like a human body does. The human body is remarkable in its ability to fight off things. And you know, it's a remarkable thing. I can just feel something in the air. It might be my spiritual egotism coming to the surface, but I can just feel that there's not as much anger in the air as there was, and it's probably just because in Manchester it's quite an angry place. But I can just feel this kind of, because when something threatens the population, you forget about your petty differences. And then you realise we're all brothers
a part
and
of something
sisters.
bigger, than ourselves. Something bigger than
bit like when President Reagan made a famous speech and he said, "I often wonder, how our petty differences would vanish worldwide if we were threatened by some kind of alien force." And kind of we are now, and the force is the virus. I thought there was a possibility within my lifetime that aliens would reveal themselves and we would forget about our differences, but this virus could do that. It depends.
They say good times wield weak men, and weak men bring about bad times, and bad times make good people, because it has to. And you're right that you have no choice but to come together and treat this thing as something bigger than all of us and do your part. So it's just this never-ending cycle. Things can always be better, and that's why people continue to fight for the things that they believe in. Like, I understand that somebody who was born maybe 60 years ago sees how much has changed since then, mostly for the better, in terms of rights, civil rights, women's rights. We've de-escalated a lot of war and tensions like that. And they think that they've just done so much, and they don't understand why people my age or your age are still fighting for things that they believe are important, like the environment or the rights of the disenfranchised, the refugees, or the LGBTQ community. We can always be helping each other. Don't think that just because most things are good right now that there's no point in helping other people, because there's always going to be somebody that needs help. And if you've got the means to help somebody even just a little bit, I think that's what's going to keep this society from crumbling right now. Because you see that there's a thin line between those who are, those people in the health services right now that are working 30 hours straight, those that are volunteering and going to check on their elderly neighbors and stuff. There's a thin line between them and the people that buy 100 rolls of toilet paper and all the gallons of water to hoard unnecessarily by themselves. There's unfortunately both kinds of those people on Earth.
Yeah, and you could. This is like, you see those people, and you're like, you think of them as being like bad people, but they're just stupid rather than bad. Do you know what I mean?
Selfish. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a certain degree of selfishness there, but it's a crazy time.
Well,
it's
can I ask you a hypothetical?
I love hypothetical.
Great. Do you think now, and this is a real life case, and I'll give you the name if you don't already know who this is, but picture the world's wealthiest man and his entire wealth, and he decides to donate 1%, less than 1% of his fortune to a noble cause, protecting the environment or, disease prevention, finding a cure. And that 1% is about, $10 million. Do you consider that man cheap?
Cheap?
Greedy?
I don't know. On the surface of it, you tend to think so, wouldn't you? Because it's less than that amount, but I don't know.
Think about what that would mean for you. If your bank account right now, you took less than 1% to donate something like that. The thing is, nobody's expecting you to be the savior. But if you can be, or have this huge impact to make so many people's lives better, who on earth needs $1 billion? I don't think if I gave you...
I'm pretty sure most people who have a wealth like that, with a few exceptions, probably do give quite a bit. I give away... I've not worked it out as a percentage, but I think I do all right.
You don't necessarily make money by continuing to give it away. What I'm saying is, if I gave you 20 years to spend $2 billion, I don't think you could do it.
Oh, no. Not a fucking clue. And nor would I want to. I remember, and I genuinely believe...
I think we could all, we all want more money, obviously. It helps
yeah, but,
us,
but it doesn't, like...
There's no reason...
I had a plan.
If you can't spend the money in 3 lifetimes, then you don't need that much money. And the thing is, you don't need that money, but other people do need that money. Now, I'm not saying that this is some sort of communist socialist sort of scenario. I'm just saying if it can be done for good things rather than just sit in a Swiss bank account offshores under the, away from where people can tax it, why... is it really going to do that much good there when it could be fighting diseases or helping children or locking up sex offenders,
Yeah, but sometimes this is the thing. A lot of money thrown at something can have harmful effects. Money's not the solution to everything. It's like from my own
Some
personal
charities
life.
are even like 60% of their funds go to advertising, and only 40% of their donations are actually used for the thing that they're donating for.
Yeah, it's like people that are born into wealth. You'd think that all the needs are met and they're fine, but they're not. They end up self-destructing. It's a strange situation. I know that. Listen, I wouldn't want millions and millions because I don't think it'd be good for me. But I'd want a modest amount. Basically, a house is all I'd want. I don't need anything more than that. If I could just have a house.
Now, see, this is where I disagree, because even though I know you're coming from a genuine place, the thing is, we're never going to be content. We always want more.
No, I disagree.
Even if it's just a little bit,
I'm content now with my kind of the income that I've got until this all happened. I could afford to go on 2 holidays a year. I had a nice car and a decent.
Were you prepared to live this lifestyle with these conditions that you currently have for the next 40 years?
Yeah.
Exactly as your life outside of this virus situation. If 3 months ago you woke up and had your average work day and had your average week and took your average vacation and did what you did, if you were to continue that for the rest of your life just that way, you think you would be happy? Yeah. There's not anything else you want in your life? You don't want a family or to do something?
Oh, no, but that's not an economic thing, is it?
I'm not necessarily saying that. Yeah. Let me clarify that. I'm saying we're never going to look around at everything we have, be it a family and friends, and be content for the rest of our lives.
But are you not confusing not being content with like wanting to better yourself? There's a big difference there. Bettering yourself and going out of your comfort zone is what's important to a healthy life.
Yeah, I agree.
That doesn't
I agree with that.
You can't be content with what you've got, because if you're striving for something and it comes from a place of dissatisfaction, everything that you achieve will be tainted. Because it comes through, it's like ambition. People that have ambition, it's a beautiful thing. If it comes from a place of wanting to achieve, to better yourself, and it comes from a place of wanting to do good for the world, but if it comes from a place of being dissatisfied, or you want to prove a point to people, or it comes from anger, it's going to be tainted, and you're going to do nothing but create suffering.
Why does Lorne's pubes look like crop circles?
I didn't know they did.
Yeah, they're just little curly weird shit, yeah. I just wanted to drop that on you right in the middle of your coherent thought, just to.
I think it was a good good placement, to be fair. But I'm gonna ponder on that significantly, actually, because maybe we could discover the secret to the universe within that little riddle.
Somewhere in there, the cure to every disease.
So who is it?
It's in Lorne's DNA.
Into that area to find the cure, then.
If the cure for the disease is in Lorne's DNA, then somebody from the World Health Organization should go in and just scrape some of the walls, because there's plenty of Lorne DNA just sitting there waiting to be taken.
Lorne DNA, wow, that's brilliant.
Do you know what DNA stands for?
No, but I'm just going to read the comment from M1A28. It's no one's business to tell people what to do with their money.
Sure it is. Give it to me.
A lot of it is. That's the beauty of capitalism and freedom. Who is anyone to tell? Yeah, no, you're right. People, at the end of the day, I always used to be grateful that we live in a world where you can pretty much fucking do what you want within reason. you can achieve anything if you had, you work hard and you can go anywhere you want. And I remember thinking, because I've been around, traveled quite a bit over the last few years. I've been to like 3 different continents. It's not many, but 4 actually. That's pretty cool. I remember thinking, what a great world we live in, where you can just pay a few dollars and hop on a plane to another country, and you've got such a freedom that people just take for granted, and that seems to be slipping away at the minute. I'm hoping things get back to normal, but I must admit,
the key to being happy in your life is not desiring the things that you don't have, is being content with the things you do. And I think you would agree with that. If you can find and appreciate the things that you do have while you have it, then you're going to be very happy.
It's gratitude is a power.
Yes.
It really is. If you have gratitude, life will be generous and it will give you more. If you don't have gratitude, life will take away what you've already got. That's a law. And I have been on a journey over the last few years of trying to be wiser and better, and I've never been really grateful. No, I've always dismissed what I've had a lot and never really been truly grateful. I do that now to some extent, not as much. I'm so fucking grateful that I've travelled. I know I keep harping on about it, but it's been a big deal to me to have the experiences I've had in some of the other countries over the last few years. Has been, even if I was to get run over now, like in 10 minutes, I'd be like, you know what, fair play. At least I've done that.
My job is a major source of stress in my life, but it has given me the opportunity to go and to do, go to different places and meet different people and do different things that I otherwise wouldn't have. And I think I would be absolutely heartbroken if I lost this job, because it's one of the best jobs that I've had. But at the same time, it is a major headache too. The give and take, I guess. But I appreciate what I can, and I power through, try to make better the things that are not good for me. If you're just miserable all the time, though, there's no point in even going to work. I hate people like that who are just negative and miserable all the time. And complain and don't do anything about it. Go ahead.
But you're right, but I also wouldn't be too hard on those people, because I've been one of those people, where I can't smile, where I'm so caught up in my own pain that all I can feel all day, every day is pain.
The major depression and depressive episodes like that, seasonal depression, those are very real things that can be treated. But as somebody who, I'm so sorry to interrupt, I didn't mean to, but as somebody who's personally, like myself, struggled with that for so long, for years I suffered alone, and it got worse and worse, and my drinking got worse and worse, and everything I did in my life got worse. And I was miserable and never, not sleeping enough, or sleeping way too much. And finally, I pushed myself after enough people expressed concern to go get help. And the medication and the treatment and the counseling I've been given has completely changed my life for the better. It's so ridiculous how long it took me to do that. But that's what some people don't understand when you say you're struggling. They say, "Oh, just go work out. Just go to the gym, go outside. Just be happier." It's never just that easy. It took a lot of hard work and admitting to myself that things can be better, and I seem to just be comfortable with how bad they are. I say, if anybody's listening, don't be. If you find that you are struggling with anxiety and depression or addiction, the best thing you can do ever is to seek professional help, because they're not there to judge you, and it's their job to make you better. And then them and your friends and your family will just be so happy to see you doing better again, and you'll be grateful too.
Yeah, that's brilliantly put, that dude. I totally agree with everything you've said in abundance, and I can relate to everything that you've said as well, because I've been in that exact same position. And it's a difficult acceptance, because if you're feeling like that and you're in that position, and I've been probably, I don't know whether probably addicted to alcohol, massive, quite a big problem with it. It takes a huge amount of work to get to a good place when you're in a bad one. And
But when you're already depressed, you already have no energy or no motivation. So that's
it's
the
like
problem.
I don't know. I'm far from being the finished article, as you know, but I've still come a long fucking way, and you know, I'm if I like I was never able to sit in on my own in an evening without drinking, without going. I never used to drink at home, but I had to go to the pub. I had to drink and take my mind off my shit life. And now I'm in a position where that I don't have to do that. I'm quite happy to lie down on my sofa and read a book and enjoy it. And that might not be a big thing for some people, but that took a huge amount of suffering and hard work to get to that point. You know what I mean? And, you know, I feel sorry for the people that can't get through life without a drink. And some people who are very close to me are like that. You know, and
Can
you
you
can
give me
only
one
really
moment?
appreciate...
I have to take a phone call real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I apologize. Yep.
Yeah, it took a lot of work to get to the point where you are now, but Lorne is someone who isn't willing to do the work that's required.
I just answered. Oh shit! Sorry, they're calling me back now. Like they immediately hung up on me. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Right, are you going or? Bit of disruption there, guys, but it's nice to see you all in the chat. It's like I said, it's not so often to do these spur of the moment things, but it's been a bit of a strange time, hasn't it? I don't know what it's like in the States at the minute, but over here, the kind of streets are deserted. It's like something off a movie. You wake up in the morning, it's a little bit surreal. It's like I've never really experienced anything like this before. Well, obviously, you know, it's like the whole world's grind to a halt. It's like, you know, I had so many plans over the next week, even the last couple of weeks, that have all been ground to a halt, and that it's really fucking weird. Ali don't feel as abusive as he won't stop drinking is abusive. I don't know if he actually did anything to his nieces. Yeah, the niece debate is quite interesting, isn't it? You know, there was definitely something untoward there. The context in which he mentions them in the chat log, he mentions them buying suggestive clothing and they needed permission from him. It's all very strange, and he even mentions the nieces within the first couple of lines, doesn't he, of the chat? There's definitely something not right there, and the fact that he was, after people at that. How old were his nieces at the start of the chat log? Do we know? I've never actually worked out a timeline, because he says in the chat log they used to be her age, because he says, oh, I have some nieces your age, and then he says, actually, they were your age, or something like that. So I think they were like 16, maybe 17 at the time of the sting. But who knows? I'm pretty sure they have nothing to do with him now anyway. One would certainly assume. So how are you guys getting on anyway? Someone want to tell me what it's like in the States at the minute? Is it nuts or what? I keep seeing... didn't Trump say something stupid? I know we don't want to go too political, but didn't he say... didn't he say something stupid about the virus and said it was a Chinese virus or something? But... it's not surprising, is it, really? Insane. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. So, we was going to do another stream this Sunday, make it a little bit light-hearted, hopefully. The streets are pretty much empty, lots of people. Them Chinese made it in a lab. I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but to make a decision on, where it's come from or anything. All I know is I was listening to Joe Rogan, a podcast, and they had an expert on in this kind of thing. And he said there's no way on earth that it's a man-made virus. Now, whether he can believe or he knows his stuff or not, I don't know. But he kind of said there's, it's come from an animal apparently. Oh, is it you were joking? Right? Okay, yeah. Fair enough. No, but some people actually believe it, though. Do you know what I mean? Some people actually... There's all kinds of conspiracies going round at the minute about where it's come from. Yeah, it was good, Amanda, wasn't it? Did you enjoy it? It was kind of insightful, but a bit disturbing at the same time. But it was I think it was just over 2 weeks ago, so it hadn't got to the point that it has now, where it's become more widespread. Because like if you think about Italy, like how nuts is it? There is it like 2,000 people have died. It's crazy. It's like I'm worried about the economic repercussions. I'm secure in my job for the definitely the short term, but the financial repercussions for everybody is going to be nuts, isn't it? Like the whole just the tourism industry collapsing has got so many, and I listened to Sam Harris and his expert guest too. When was this? When was the Sam Harris thing, Amanda? Which one are you referring to? Was that a recent one? Because I was trying to find some more. You can get a 7-day cruise for like $100. Really? Fucking hell. I'd jump on it tomorrow. I personally, I look after myself quite well. So yeah, I look after myself quite well, so I'm personally not worried about the virus, although, you can't be sure.
I'm back, hello.
Oh, right, I thought I was going to have to close the stream down then.
No, we're going for 10 more hours.
Well, no, it's getting late here. I can do it in about another 20 minutes or so.
That sounds good. What are we talking about?
We were just back on the virus again, actually, but we've talked about that for a little bit too long, so we can get back onto Lorne topics, I think. So I've not spoke to you about my trip to the States, have I?
No, not really. Not in person.
Yeah, I'm one of the honoured few that's seen Lorne in person. Isn't that weird?
It's like a holy pilgrimage. I consider, I am insanely jealous.
Do you really like?
It sounded like you had a fun trip. Like,
oh no!
Just overall,
yeah. It was great. But like, I don't know. How do you think you'd feel about like, meeting? Well, not meeting Lorne, but I mean, I was stood 2 feet away from him and he was looking right at me in the eye. Do you know what I mean?
Probably the same way I felt when I met other TCAPists, which is insanely nerve-wracking until it actually happens, and this wave of relief washes over you. This person that's been so wildly in your head this whole time is just another person. It's just another dude. It's humbling.
Yeah.
And then I would laugh at him when he talks about cooking shows.
Well, thank you, Amanda. It'd have been nice of you to come as well, but it was nice to meet MEB, who was in the chat, otherwise known as Michael, came and met me and bought me some gifts. Would you believe, like a Boston hoodie? It was great to meet these people. And
some of that Cornville hospitality.
Yeah. Do you know what, mate? One of the best experiences was being in the Cornville motel, and
that's what I heard. Yeah, that's so cool.
No, it was called. What's it called? The Cornville motel. I can't even fucking remember the name. What was it? What was the town called that we were in? Was it Cornville? I can't remember. Fucking hell. But it was amazing, and it was great to be. Shin's got such an amazing energy about him, and it was great to be with him. And he just looked cool as fuck when he was walking into the courtroom, and he had his suit on, and you could just picture him like as a lawyer when he used to do that, and he was so enthusiastic about it, and he had his yellow legal notepad and was writing everything down, and he's like 2 rows behind me, right, in the courtroom. And he's fucking taking it all dead seriously, right? Kanan, see, Amanda knows more than I do. It was the Kanan motel. He was writing it all dead seriously, like, on these yellow legal notepads, and I was fucking in hysterics, just pissing myself laughing because he'd said, I want to do my cooking show. Oh, man.
I couldn't even imagine.
Man, it was the funniest moment of my entire life. It was fucking the funniest thing I've ever heard.
In a courtroom setting where the best thing you can do for yourself in any court case is shut up and let the lawyer do everything, pretty much. What? The lawyer's got his hands on the gavel like, I sentence you to 6. Wait, I haven't told you about my cooking show. Cooking show? Tell me more.
But do you know what makes it? It works on so many levels because what made it so funny is you see Lorne, right, and he's not said anything for the whole court case. It's all pretty much come to a conclusion.
Whatever he's about to say must be really impactful and
Yeah,
powerful.
and you're
Saving
thinking,
it for
right,
last.
okay, and you forget just how stupid he is because he's sitting there behaving himself. Your brain starts to think he's actually not that stupid. He's behaving himself. He knows what he's doing, and then for him to come out with it and say, "I want to do my cooking show" in a crying voice, it just highlighted how stupid a human being he actually is. Like, just how far his grip on reality has actually, been lost. It's like, just to think about it on so many levels. Number one, how the fuck would he think that the judge gives a shit? How would he know the judge knows about that or is going to...
I just want to help out at the homeless shelter that I do. I just want to, take care of the foster, the shelter dogs that I take care of. No, I want to make my cooking show is where you need to see.
It was so unexpected as well. It was like, I would have never have thought he would have said it. And because it was one of the funniest things that he's done with regard to the Lorne reality show, for him to bring that up, that's what made it so funny. It was like, man, he just mentioned his cooking show. It's like, oh my, and the fact that he still thought that for some strange reason it would have been people wanted to see it and that it was popular. There's still a part of his brain, but this is a guy who thought that Sylvester Stallone was like...
I need to make my cooking show for my fan. My one fan.
Oh man, I remember even before he said that, I said to Michael, who was sat at the side of me, right, and I said, you know what, this is the most entertaining thing I've ever seen, because you know what it did? All this obsessiveness that we've got over Lorne all became a reality, and it was all unfolding in the courtroom, and to sort of hear it unfolding in that way, like that, was just fucking amazing. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, this is great. This is like, it was like... it was like watching Breaking Bad, but being in Breaking Bad. Do you know what I mean? It was like suddenly you're a character in Breaking Bad. All of a sudden, that's how fucking cool.
We're all characters in Lorne's warped reality, in the story of Lorne.
I know, and I think he's even mentioned us like in one of the calls, like, who the fuck were those guys? Something along those lines. So, yeah, it was fucking amazing, mate. It really was. I mean, I've harped on about it a few times, but of course...
How are you ever going to live up to that now? The rest of your life is just going to be in decline. You've peaked.
I have. At that moment, I was like, you know what? Nothing's going to top that. Although I was in Boston the night after, just hopping around bars. That was really fucking cool. Just randomly talking to just... I thought it took quite a lot of balls. I was in a city I'd never been in before. On a continent I've never been to, completely on my own, and I was just chatting up girls like in bars. And it was going quite well. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, because you got completely out of my comfort zone. But, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's so cool. I can't wait to do some more traveling myself. I'm taking a little week beach vacation in the summer. That's the plan, unless everything is still closed down. I can't imagine this going on for any longer than it already has, but it's only going to get worse, isn't that? Ugh. There's no precedent for this that any of us have lived through.
Yeah, we're in uncharted waters. EasyJet, who are a budget airline. Boston's a great city, Amanda. I mean, I was really taken with it. Like, it might just be because I've never been to the States before, but there's like, I don't know. I felt some kind of connection to the city, and I don't know whether it's my crazy brain playing tricks with me, but I don't know. It was a really beautiful experience, and people that were there with me, like, I'll be forever grateful for how, like for Shin and Miss Watson who came with us and Michael and Paul. It was just fucking...
If you ever find yourself with an opportunity to go check out Niagara Falls, I mean, hit me up, man. I'm right there.
I'd fucking love to, man. I might take you up on that. I mean, to be fair, Rhode Island has been suggested that I might like that. Yeah, it's been suggested that maybe I should go there. If it wasn't for what's happened, I would I would be going there this year, but I'm not too sure that's going to happen. But anyway, Budget Airlines just emailed me and say I can get flights for $30 to anywhere if I book for the winter. So I might fuck off to Spain. I might book it actually.
Go to the moon at that point.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, but I don't know. I like the weather. You see, I like nice weather, like warm weather, and you're not going to get that on the moon, are you?
You get no weather.
Well, exactly. Yeah. So, like, I'm not going to get a tan on the moon, am I?
I don't know, son. I don't know if that would work. You wouldn't have your skin exposed because you'd be in a suit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it depends what kind of holiday you want. You know, a bit of sightseeing and you want to see the Earth from a distance, then, you know, the moon's the place for you, isn't it?
I guess. Well, wow, we started streaming 69 minutes ago. If that isn't the sign to end on this high note, I don't know what is. This was so much fun. Really, thank you.
Yeah, it's been really cool. It's been an interesting conversation. We've covered the usual topics, plus, you know, we couldn't do a stream and not mention what's going on in the world at the minute. I hope all you guys are okay.
This will be a fun thing to visit a year or two from now, to remember what it was like and reliving.
Yeah. We'll have to do some more of these, dude.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm gonna have a lot of free time coming up. Where I'm not gonna be doing anything. So, 24-hour stream.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm excited. I really hope I get you on my channel too, and we can do something there sometime in the next few weeks.
Yeah, definitely. Because, like I said, you know, I'm certainly not doing much at the minute. So, yeah, that'd be cool. I'm going to. I've got to the habit of reading quite a lot before bed now, so I'm going to do an hour's reading because it really tires you out. Because I've been struggling, like, I don't know whether anybody's got any advice, but over the last few weeks, before all this happened, I know it was my, like, psyche anticipating something crazy happening, but I've just not been able to sleep at all. It's really been...
Melatonin has kind of helped me with my insomnia.
Yeah?
Yeah, but, like, way more than it recommends you take. It was really bad. The medication I was on just... I've always been an oversleeper. I've never had trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. But the medication side effect was giving me insomnia, and it was like I would go to sleep at 11, wake up at 12:30, just like wide awake, eyes wide open for like 3 hours. Yeah,
that's really not good.
But we made some adjustments. So just the stuff I was taking to treat depression, that was one of the side effects, and I lowered that to help with that. And like I said, I've been taking melatonin now. I'm using a CPAP machine too, which helps my central sleep apnea. But those things all together now have made it a lot easier for me to sleep. Plus, I made the best purchase I ever made in the last 10 years. I bought a sort of small, medium-sized hammock to put in my apartment, and like the kind you would see outside, but it's a lot smaller and it fits in here. And I will just sit and swing in that thing and watch TV, and I have never had a deeper, better sleep than when I sit in that thing. So I heavily recommend you all do the same thing as well.
Good advice. Good advice. I think there's a few people in the chat have said that sleeping's an issue, and I think as our lives become more complicated and our phone sort of attention is more drawn in by mobile devices, I think that's an effect, you know, because there's all kinds of shit running through your brain.
24-hour stimulus.
It's not healthy. I think it's part of the reason why this is happening at the minute. Everything has a reason, and some crazy shit going on at the minute, and I just think
that said, like and subscribe to see more things from Andrew Burkett.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure everybody has already liked and subscribed, but please do if you've not already. I never say that on my. I don't think I've ever said that on my videos. Please like and subscribe, even though everybody else says it. But I suppose
as if there's people watching that are just waiting for you to say please. Like, okay, now I'll do it. You know, yes, nicely.
Yeah. On that note, I'm going to wish you a good evening.
Yes, this was a lot of fun. Thank you again. Thank you, everybody.
No, thanks for coming on, mate. I've really enjoyed it. It's been, I must admit, I was a bit down before because like a lot of things are going to change in the next few weeks for me, like work, home.
I think we're all going to get a bit of cabin fever here in the next couple of weeks. So if anybody wants to hit us up or leave some comments, after the video's up, if you want to maybe do something together or have other ideas for videos, then I'm down to hear people out.
Yeah, guys, just let me know if you've enjoyed this, because it is kind of therapeutic for me to get involved with all this as well, because I'm gonna, my social sort of outgoing is going to be limited now for the next however long this takes. My life's going to be more difficult, as I'm sure as a lot of people are. So as long as people get something out of this and we can have a chat and whatnot, then it's always worth doing. So thank you very much for joining us, everybody in the chat, and Mr. Heisenberg White. A pleasure, and it's been great to speak to you again. And
till next time.
Yeah. So guys, look after yourselves and each other, and I'll speak to you soon.